I'm Grace Torrey, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. What's up, you guys? It's your girl, Grace Torrey, and I'm back with a whole new podcast episode. I have a question for you. So I was thinking, and when your life is going great, like super amazing, all of your friends are vibing, you're vibing with them, you're being social, work seems to be going amazing, everything's falling into place. How do you feel? Do you feel confident? Do you feel like you love yourself? Because for me, when life is going amazing and everything's falling into place and everything almost seems like I couldn't have planned it better, I am confident in my abilities and I have a lot of self-love. So today I wanted to talk about ways that I am personally loving myself better, because I feel like I've really fallen off my self-love train, and it's definitely reflected in my life and things that are going on in my life, and I just miss being confident and loving myself. So I wanted to share my list. It's 10 things that I'm doing to get back on track. And if you feel a similar way, if you feel confused, lost, alone, like you don't love yourself or you're not confident in yourself and your abilities, first off, I love you. If you need anything, DM me on @thatgirlthepod on Instagram. I am so happy to talk to you at any time. But also, I hope that these tips help you. Let me know if they do. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Before we jump in, of course, I don't think I have a life update really. So I guess we'll skip our life update today. Nothing really going on except for the fact that I'm having kind of some self-love issues like I mentioned. So we might as well just like talk about it and not have a life update. But before we do jump in, don't forget to follow on whatever platform you're on. Don't forget to follow on Instagram and TikTok. All of my links are down below. It really helps out my channel / podcast if you're not watching on YouTube. And last thing, don't forget to rate and review or leave a like. It literally skyrockets my podcast so that all the girlies can join and we can all work towards becoming the best version of ourselves together. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in. These are some pretty simple, straightforward, really, some are quicker than others, but very easy to implement ways that I am implementing self-love back into my life. So the very first thing I'm doing is I'm going to write out my night and morning routines. I've definitely fallen off of them, and as we know, a good day starts the night before with a solid night routine and a morning routine that really sets you up for success. And then I'm also going to be scheduling my plan to get active throughout the week. I really have to have some sort of exercise every day in order for me to feel good, and part of that is because I struggle with a lot of mental health issues, and the endorphins that are released really do help me, but part of that is I really feel better when I am healthier. Like, to put it simply, I feel like my body is stronger and that makes me feel better. So those are some reasons why I do that. But I've noticed when I feel my self-love slipping, it's usually after my self-discipline has slipped and I have kind of stopped working out and being healthy, or my night routine hasn't been done in a couple days and my morning routine has fallen off. So for me, self-love starts with self-discipline. So one way that I'm doing that is writing everything out, making it crystal clear so that there's no questions about what I do next, and it's very straight to the point, robotic almost, like, oh, I'm done with this, I do this. And obviously I don't have to stick to what I write down, but it definitely gives me a good idea, because I don't like to think a lot when I'm doing my routines or trying to figure out what, if I'm going to the gym or if I'm going to go see my horse or if I'm going to go for a walk. Like, when I'm trying to do that in the moment, I don't want to think about it because it gives me anxiety to make those decisions in the moment. So I like to plan them out. And if I end up changing, that's totally fine. But writing them out gives me the opportunity to not think and have something in place if I don't want to think, if that makes sense. So number 2 is I'm going to take time for me every single day and set boundaries so that that time is 100% prioritized for myself. And I think a lot of people see me time as selfish. They see it as, even narcissistic, but me time is essential, because if you aren't good, then you can't help anybody else. Like, you have to help yourself first. So me time is so, so important. Even if it's just 20 minutes to take a long shower and moisturize, whatever me time means to you, if that's meditating, if that's coloring, if that's taking a whole hour to do a full routine, then that's what it is. But making sure that you do something that is authentic to you and genuinely makes you feel loved and supported and gives you the motivation you need to set a foundation for yourself. Number 3 is make a grocery list and prioritize buying groceries. This is impossible for me, it seems, because by the time I pay for bills and I pay for this and I pay for that and I pay for things that seem like priorities but really aren't, I have a hard time having money for good, solid groceries, and I end up buying really cheap things like spaghetti, which is not awful, but for me, I feel best when I eat following a certain diet, and it's really hard for me to follow that diet eating kind of cheap, very quick to make food. So I need to start prioritizing setting aside money for my groceries. I always have something pop up and I'm like, oh my gosh, this sucks. Like, I can't pay for groceries now, but I just need to suck it up and make it work, you know? Like, I just need to make it work, to put it simply. An example of this is, I forgot to mention in my life update, even though I literally told you guys I was going to. I moved my horse. I have a horse. Her name's Moondance. I moved her this weekend. So she was at one barn. I moved her to a different barn. Well, since I was moving her, I bought quite a few things. And they honestly weren't essentials. It was things like, oh, I need new pads to put in my stirrups on my saddle. So it wasn't like super essential, but it was something that I've really been needing. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy it when I move. And then I'm like, oh shoot, I don't have money for dinner tonight. And it's like, I do have money, but I don't have money because that money is for something else and blah, 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 blah. So I just need to budget better and make sure that groceries are a top priority for me so that I don't end up kind of eating away at the money I did budget and then getting really cheap, unhealthy things. Food should be more of a priority than everyone seems to make it, as I've noticed that. So just in general, food should be a higher priority than it is. Number 4, buy self-care products rather than splurging on things that will only last a second. Example of this is every Saturday I like to get a Starbucks coffee, and then sometimes I go walk around the thrift shops, maybe buy a new notebook. It's very meditative for me. But instead of doing this, I could buy things like face masks or things like a nicer lotion for my face that is better quality. And am I gonna have to skip out on maybe like 3 coffees to do that? Yes. But if I'm applying that lotion every single day and it makes me more confident, then that's much longer lasting than a cup of caffeine, you know? Like, I need to be buying things that are gonna last longer than that, or a t-shirt that I thought was really cute and in the moment it really put me in a better mood, but I'm gonna wear that shirt once a month maybe. Like, I need to do a better job of buying self-care products that last longer and have a lasting impact on my self-love and how I view myself. Number 5 is accept that it is okay to be a hermit if that's what you feel will help you. You don't have to be around people 24/7. There's nothing wrong with being totally alone. There's nothing wrong with being by yourself. There's nothing wrong with saying no to going out. Obviously, if you're doing that for months at a time, that's a different conversation. But if you are healing and you are finding yourself and you are finding love for yourself again, and you need to be alone to do that, it's okay. The first time I really sat down, processed a lot of trauma, and found some deep self-love for myself, I didn't talk to anyone or leave my house for 2 weeks. It was winter break, I was the only one there, and I did not leave for 2 weeks except to like take my dog for a walk and go for drives with my dog and get groceries. But I literally did not talk to anyone, and it was the most therapeutic thing. Did I cry every night? Yes, but I was doing like inner work and I was growing, and I came out of that so much happier and so much healthier than when I went into it, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. I just don't have 2 weeks to take off and not leave my house. But it was the most therapeutic thing, and I absolutely absolutely recommend it if it's possible for you. Number 6 is clean your freaking house or your environment. I don't know about you, but I just feel like a trash human being when my house is trash, and maybe I shouldn't place my worth in my environment. 100%, your worth should come from within, but you should also live in a clean environment. Everyone deserves to live in a clean environment. Everyone should have the basic ability to live in a clean space. It is your right as a human being, I feel like. And obviously, there are going to be times when there's exceptions to that, and you're not going to be able to, but if you are living in your own home and you are the one making a mess, then clean it up. Like, you're going to feel so much better. It's going to suck. It's probably going to be a little bit of a process, but coming out of it, you're going to feel so much better. And also, while you're at it, set some processes and set some routines so that you keep your house cleaner and you don't have to do one big clean next time. So maybe say on this night I do laundry and on this night I do dishes and then rotate or something like that, so that you have a more long-term plan to keeping your house clean. That is something I'm working on, but when I have a clean house, I'm a completely different human being. Like, affects my mental health 110%, and it's super important to me. Number 7 is affirmations. I already say a lot of affirmations. Every morning and every night I try and say the basic ones like I'm beautiful, I'm loved, I'm worthy, I'm confident. I say things I'm thankful for at least every morning, but I want to increase the amount. If you are not saying them at all, definitely start saying them. Affirmations are game changers. Say them out loud. Don't just say them in your head. Say them in the mirror if you need to. That's extremely therapeutic if you look yourself in the eye in the mirror and say them. But affirmations are a beautiful thing that sometimes you just need to hear. The worst thing you can do for yourself is rely on external validation to love yourself. You need to have internal validation that you love yourself. So if you are believing that you love yourself and you are 100% affirming to yourself that you are worthy, you are loved, you are confident, you are all of these amazing, beautiful things, then you're going to have that internal validation, and nothing externally is going to shake you, because you know for a fact that you are worthy and you should be loved and you genuinely love yourself. So affirmations are really, really great at building that and helping you get that into your head. If you're stubborn like me, it's gonna take a minute, but they really speed up that process. Number 8 is grow a backbone. I did not get a backbone until like junior year of college, and I still don't have one at times. I hate confrontation. I hate standing up for myself. It's not that I hate it. I'm just like scared of it. It's just not my vibe. So having a backbone is kind of new to me, and I'm still navigating life not being super, like, standing up for myself. I'm very go with the flow, and I wait for things to get really, really bad and out of control before I say something, and then I just kind of explode. So I'm learning to say things when they happen and stand up for myself. So when I say grow a backbone, some examples are say no, stand up for yourself, obviously, and cut off those toxic cycles, girly. You do not need that toxicity in your life. If something is truly bringing you down, cut it out. Cut it out. You don't need it. Learn to say no when it's necessary. Number 9 is cry it out and do your shadow work. It's okay to cry. It's okay to let all that out. You're not going to learn to love yourself by pushing off all of the trauma and all the reasons why you may not like yourself. So you are going to need to cry it out and work on it. The only way out is through. You're not going to get over your trauma or all of these thoughts by going around them. You're going to have to go through and process it. So cry it out, do your shadow work. If you don't know what shadow work is, it's basically healing yourself. That's really it. Like, Google shadow work, I think, is the best way to do it. But shadow work is just facing your traumas and your inner demons head on by yourself. Obviously, therapy is an amazing thing, but shadow work is things you can do, or is something you can do on your own. A lot of people journal to do shadow work, but there's a lot of ways to do it. I might have an episode on shadow work. I honestly can't remember. If not, just Google it. You'll get all the insight you need. The last and final tip is to do things that boost your confidence. Examples of ways that I do this is plan out my outfits ahead of time, like the night before, putting on makeup the morning of. And I know these are all external things, like they're based on my appearance, but that does boost my confidence. The internal things I'm doing are like eating healthier and affirmations and things like that. But when I talk about this, I'm specifically meaning to set yourself up to be confident. Like for me, I get up and give myself 20 minutes to leave to get to work. That means I don't have time to really do anything. I can't really do my hair. I can't really pick out an outfit. I can't really get it all together. So if I get up earlier and do these things, then I'm probably going to be more confident throughout the day, because that's just how I am. Like if I feel pretty, I'm going to be more confident, if that makes sense. So those are some things I'm doing to practice self-love and hopefully boost my love for myself in general, which will hopefully elevate my life as a whole. Hopefully you pick something out from this that you can apply to your life, or you're going to apply all the tips. That would be my hope. If you have any questions or you want to talk about anything, definitely reach out to me. I would love to talk about it more, talk about it in more detail. I hope that you guys have a great Wednesday night if you're watching this on Wednesday. If you're watching this any other day, I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or night. If this episode's a little short, I'm sorry. Like I mentioned, the self-love isn't really working today, so I'm feeling a little down. It's also the day after the full moon, and it was a super moon, so apparently everyone's feeling very intense emotions. I personally believe that. I personally feel it. If you don't believe that, you're good, but man, I feel like shit, to be frank, and I feel like that has something to do with it, so I'm gonna go edit this and work on these things that I told you guys about. So don't forget to follow on everything, including what platform you're currently listening on right now. I love you guys so much. I will talk to you in my next podcast episode, and I think that's pretty much it. Love you guys. Bye.